Valley Talk on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
Welcome to Valley Talk. Beautiful day. It's springtime, or at least it feels like it anyway. This morning, it was a little nippy. It was under 32 degrees this morning when the sun came up, but it's warming up, and it's nice to see the sun out there after some rain. So welcome to Valley Talk today. I'm Dave Adams. Glad to have you with us. A couple of things we need to get underway. One particular issue is to tell you about Quiznos Taste on Us. You can sign up for this, and at the end of the show today, we're going to give away a $10 gift certificate. Go to Quiznos in Albany. And that's right across the parking lot from Novak's Restaurant and right across from the former G.I. Joe Sporting Goods location. You can sign up by sending me an email, dave@kgal.com, or call the station at 926-KGAL, 451-KGAL. But Quiznos Taste on Us on the subject line, and if you are the name that we draw out at the end of the show, then you get a $10 certificate. It's good for anything in the store. Quiznos Albany only. And it's sub sandwich, chips, drinks, whatever. Thanks to Dale and the crew at Quiznos. They do a great job, great tasting sandwiches. It's Quiznos Taste on Us, and they help make the Valley Talk Show possible. So, Dale, thank you for what you do, and thank you for listening to us on the show today. A couple of things we're going to be talking about. First of all, we have Tom Corider in the studio. Tom, thank you for being with us. He's been on the Valley Talk Show before.
Nice to see you today, Dave.
And, of course, measures 22117, 22116 passed by the voters. Okay, what's the next step? There's a lot of discussion about the word debt, how that's going forward. We're going to be talking to Tom about that as well. And the second half of the show, we're going to be talking to someone from Santiam Christian Schools about what's going on there, development, and other things, Santiam Christian Schools. So we're looking forward to that from 11:30 to noon today here on Valley Talk. Tom, thanks for being on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
So the next, and everybody please make sure you turn off your phones, and that includes the host. So I've been caught.
Yeah.
Everybody always calls me when I'm on the air. I don't know what that is. The measure regards to debt. Measure 22117 required voter approval for new city debt or debt extension, and that passed in Albany. But there's some discussion about the majority issue and about the word debt. Let's talk about, which one do you want to talk about first, Tom?
Well, I think the urban renewal one, which is 116, I don't think there's any debate about that. It was a duplicate of what happened in Clackamas County, and so that language had been fully vetted, and we expect the city attorney to make the determination that that measure passed. The 117 is the one that is uncertain because we don't know what the city attorney will do. A lot of people don't know that the county runs the election, but all the county does is count the votes. And they will turn over the vote count, the official vote count, here to the city in a few days, but then it's up to the city to determine whether it passed or not. And so an earlier decision by the city council stated that they had instructed the city attorney to file a litigation in circuit court, and if this measure, if 117 passed by a simple majority, to try to overturn that and say that it did not pass. We don't know what they're going to do. They have a number of choices, and they had an executive session last Wednesday to talk about what they will do when they make a determination. My understanding is that they will make that determination publicly at a public meeting on April the 10th. But I only know that because I read it in the paper. So what they intend to do, I don't know. We would hope that they wouldn't try to overturn the will of the people. The people voted in favor of both of these charter amendments, and we would hope that the city would agree that the measure passed.
City Attorney Jim Delapore had said in the past that based on your use of the word electors, or an absolute majority, that is, an absolute majority of those registered to vote, it should be 50% of all registered voters plus one vote. Obviously, the turnout was only 33%, so half of the people signed or registered to vote obviously did not vote in favor of this, and so he's contesting in that manner. Have you heard from Jim or the city?
We've heard nothing, and we made a proposal to the city council on last Wednesday's city council meeting that we ought to be able to work this out, and that the litigation ought to be the absolute last choice to ask the court to make a determination. The fact is that the measure passed in terms of the yes votes outnumbered the no votes. And according to the state statute, you can't have a simple majority place a future supermajority requirement on going forward. So the fact is that this measure, the number of yes votes exceeded the number of no votes, and that is called a simple majority. So going forward, our opinion is that if the city wants to go into more debt, they will only have to get a simple majority in the future, because this measure passed only by a simple majority. To me, there is no question that is what a reasonable person would decide.
Let's talk about there was a lot of discussion, we talked about it here on the show in the past, about the definition of debt. And one of the things the critics of 22117 would said that was the word debt was extremely vague, and how do you define that? Let's talk about that. And you've made an overture to the city as far as let's work together to help define that. I'll let you explain.
We did, and the issue is that the measure, both of these measures, changed the language of the city charter. And the city charter is like the constitution of the city. And then there is the municipal code, which is a lower level document, which the city council can change just on their vote. And so what we're suggesting is that the city municipal code could be used to define what debt is, and we propose that the city would form a working group that would include our political action directors and city staff and city council, whoever else wants to join in that, to make a definition of debt that is intelligent and that wouldn't hamstring the city council, but would also satisfy our needs and our desires. We chose to not define debt in the charter itself, and we were criticized for that it's too vague. Well, there's a vehicle, and it's called the City Municipal Code, where debt could be defined. In fact, the city has already defined debt in its own financial instruments. The CAFR and the PAFR already list the debts that the city carries as debt. It lists the amount of money that is used to pay principal and interest on its debt, and the debts. One of the obvious debts that the city has is revenue bonds, but that's not inclusive. That term doesn't include all of the other debt types that the city has, and so we think that it would be wise to define that in the municipal code, and if we can do that, there would be, and we think it's doable. We think that it's not wise to go to the court to do that. It wastes taxpayer money, wastes everybody's money, and so let's be reasonable here and get it done a different way.
Which is why you're trying to limit that in the first place, save money.
That's right.
The acronyms you mentioned, the CAFR and the PAFR, what are those?
Well, the CAFR is called the Combined Annual Financial Report. And the PAFR is a new report that is called the Popular Annual Financial Report, and it would be more readable for non-accountant types like myself. And so those documents are online, and it's really interesting to me that the city, it was in the paper, the city just received a transparency award from some group. But at the same time, when the Democrat Herald went to the city and asked them how much their debt was and to define debt, they refused to do that. So it's an odd juxtaposition here of keeping the newspaper at bay with definitions, and yet the city gets a transparency award. It's kind of amusing to me.
Now, promoting the passage of 22117, 22116, you put a lot of time in it. As I was driving through the streets of Albany, even when it was raining outside, I usually saw you at a street corner. I saw you over by Mega Foods one day, a couple days, and with your sign up there. And I've talked to people who said, you know what? I don't agree with Tom and his 117 and 116, but, you know, God love him. He's out there really pushing this, and it's rainy out there, and he's out there with his sign. How much time did you put into this?
You know, I don't really know. I don't know. It was an everyday deal.
It was a 7-day-a-week thing.
Yeah, maybe 6.5. But you know, we did what we thought was right, and the results God provided. We had no ability to control the outcome. People voted on the values that they have. I did spend a lot of time, and I had people in my campaign praying for me every day and praying for this the success of this initiative to try to scale back the cost of government. And so I didn't get weary. It's you know, I don't want to get too spiritual here, but I felt like I was on a mission, and God gave me the strength to keep doing what we were doing, and to provide us information about the good tools that are out there with the media, with radio and television and print and handouts, door hangers, all that kind of stuff, in addition to talking to people. Because remember, when we got these signatures, we collected 4,200 signatures on both of the petitions. And so there were a large group of people that were already engaged and just needed to be reminded to open up the envelope and read the ballot, and because it's a very simple questions that were there. Should the city of Albany be required to do what we're asking them to do? And most people, when they read that, it was such a simple question that the Judge McKill came up with as he rewrote Delaporte's ballot. It was a very simple question, and people resonated to that, so we're thankful.
What was it that you were obviously a man on a mission to get these passed, and you it seemed like every day I was out there in the town going to the grocery store or whatever. Tom was there with his signs. You were a man on a mission trying to get these passed. Was there one particular incident, action by the city? What was it that just lit your fuse, so to speak, and just said, I'm going to do what I can to get these passed? What was it?
Well, I you know, you can look back, and frankly, I attended several city council meetings, and it was clear in the words that were spoken by the leadership. Many times this statement was made: we know that you and your cohorts don't like what we're doing, but we have a plan, and we will carry out our plan no matter what. And that kind of expression of, you know, I'll call it disdain, doesn't set well with me. And when I look, you know, there's this thing that's $17 trillion in debt at the national level, and now Obama has stated publicly he believes that even $20 trillion is a sustainable debt.
Wish it was 20 million.
Yeah, I wish it were. But the $20 trillion, he says now, is a sustainable debt. And it's nuts. And I have no ability to influence that at all. But we can work locally, and I encourage people outside of Albany, inside of Albany, to do what you can to reduce the cost of government.
One of the complaints from the critics of 22-117 and 116 were that you were mixing up the national issue about the national debt with the local issue, and they thought that they were totally unrelated. Do you agree with that?
No, I think that they are related. As a matter of fact, what we now see at the 2012 national election is that the Obama strategy of giving people free stuff works. That's one of the ways he got elected, is promising free stuff and promising the moon, even though we're $17 trillion in debt. And so when I look at the stats, and I have a map in front of me on this 116 measure on urban renewal, the only districts that voted in the majority no to defeat the measures are those precincts 1, 3, 5, and 11. Those are the only ones that voted no in the majority, and they are the ones those precincts are the districts within CARA. So the people who were, and the properties that were getting the money, voted to keep getting the money. And all of the other districts, typically on the south and east side of Albany, voted overwhelmingly, which means greater than 60% yes in favor of our measures. It's really striking about how the people who were not benefiting from the money that was going into the urban renewal plan voted, we need to make a change to this. And the people who have received the urban renewal monies and the properties in those areas, those are the ones who said, no, we like getting all this money and we don't want to see a change. And that's a duplicate of what is happening in Washington, D.C. Those that are on the take, on the government side of things, they don't want to see any kind of spending stopped. And Obama has no interest in reducing costs. We were really pleased that the city financial folks reissued bonds at a lower cost to lower the cost of government. It's a beautiful thing that they did, and we're pleased that they did that. And our measure would not have prevented them from doing that at all. Nope. And we are encouraged by their, I'll call it, newfound interest in reducing costs.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was my next question, and your measure would not have stopped that from happening.
Not at all. And we've made that clear in writing before they did it, and there's still a group of people who think that, well, if we'd have waited, they wouldn't have been able to do that. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Tom Corider, he's a proponent of Measure 22-117, 116. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about what's next for Tom and where we are going forward on the measures, specifically on 117, requiring voter approval for new city debt or debt extension. And we'll be back on Valley Talk here in just a moment.
Servco is proud to announce that we now distribute a septic-safe drain cleaner called BioClean. BioClean is a totally green product that eats through buildup in pipes and drains, leaving only an ash-like flushable substance that consumes itself. If you want to have pipes and drains that are trouble-free, then BioClean is the product for you. Want to know more? Contact Servco today for your licensed, bonded, and certified plumbing professionals at 1200 East Grant Street in Lebanon. Call 541-451-5090 or visit servcoinc.net. Servco, we're ready to serve you.
Now open Saturdays.
Willamette Living Magazine brings you the best of our special area in print and online. Locally owned and operated, Willamette Living is the lifestyle magazine of Oregon's Willamette Valley from Eugene to Portland. Every other month brings a new edition packed with engaging local stories, beautiful photography, and offerings from our neighbors in business. Visit WillametteLiving.com to read the current issue online, find out about advertising your business, or subscribe now and have every issue delivered to your home or office. Willamette Living Magazine, your guide to the best of the Willamette Valley. You have to get to the Portland Airport. You have a couple of options. You could drive to the airport, fill up the tank, fight the hordes of bad drivers while cramped up in front of the steering wheel for hours, wishing that you'd sent that last email, struggling into the parking lot for the opportunity to pay an arm and a leg, or take the Hutt Airport Shuttle and travel in style. Stretch out and rest. Use the free wireless internet, or just enjoy the trip to the airport. With 5 pickup points and a shuttle every 2 hours. Park free in Corvallis at the Hilton Garden Inn, in Albany at the Phoenix Inn Suites. Next time, take the shuttle. Hutt Airport Shuttle. Reservations required. Call toll-free 888-257-0126 or on the web at huttshuttle.com. 888-257-0126 or huttshuttle.com.
Creating a 211 resource phone line for families to get the help they need. Giving scholarships to children with special needs at Mighty Oaks Children's Therapy Center. Providing dental to low-income children throughout Lynn County. My name is Jim Merriman, and I'm president of Oregon Freeze Dry. We support the United Way because they are making a difference right here in the community where we live and work. Please join me in supporting the United Way of Lynn County. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united.
Now you can manage your printers as easy as you manage your copiers. Managed print services from Ultrex, maintenance, toner cartridges, and repairs, all in just one monthly payment. Hewlett-Packard, Lexmark, Brother, just to name a few. All you have to do is buy the paper. It's that easy. Just call Ultrex today and ask about their managed print services. Ultrex Business Solutions, your locally owned and operated copier company, proudly supporting our community. Ultrex Business Solutions.
Need a home? Then listen to Real Estate Talk with Dave Pouch, Saturday mornings on Smart Talk 1580.
Welcome back to Valley Talk. Dave Adams, and here with me today, Tom Corider. We're talking about measures 22117, 22116. Just before we came back from the break, Tom was saying that if you have some signs that you haven't thrown, maybe they're in the garage or on the porch or whatever, they would like those back. Is that correct? And why is that?
Well, we have a potential future use for them. The wire frames cost money, and they can be reused into new signs. And the Vote Yes is a generic kind of sign that other people can use. And we may come back with other measures. And all we'd have to do would be to wipe out the last digit and reuse them.
Anything you want to talk about now?
No, I have no plans to do that. I don't have a plan to go after some other issue, but you never know.
So where are we going forward in 22117 specifically? Are you waiting for the city to respond to your offer to, hey, let's get together with the committee and define debt in the municipal code?
Yeah, we would like to hear a response from them. And I guess my own sense is that if we could do that early, it's better than doing it late. But even if the city decides to do, I'll call it the right thing, and say make a determination that it passed, certainly I would be encouraged if the city would work with us and put something in the municipal code so that everybody will know how the city has defined debt, and that would be a great way to resolve the whole issue instead of having some uncertainty out there. I wouldn't want an ongoing legal battle about, well, this debt is not debt to some and debt to others. So it helps everybody if we can get clarity now that the measure's passed.
If it does go to litigation, think you'll win?
I do. I do. We have a legislative record about how many vote number would be required in a yet to be issued desire by the city council to increase debt. We have a history about that, and we think we can win that. I think it's a very troubling idea that the city would try to overturn the will of the people, even though there wasn't a huge voter turnout. We did have a voter turnout in several precincts that were up. One of them was 50%, another one was 49%, several in the 35% area. So we had a good representation across the city, and it's the will of the people that the city would be constrained on how they spend money and debt in the future, and it would just be a terrible thing to try to throw all of that away.
Albany's Right to Vote Political Action Committee, is that still meeting? Is it?
Yes, we still have obligations that we have to pay for. We're still accepting contributions. And we have a website, www.albanyvoters.org, and there's a contribution section on that website, and tells you how to do that. We didn't spend nearly as much money as the Vote No folks spent, but I think we spent it more wisely and more effectively. And so, but we still have a significant cost to cover. And right now, several of us have paid for that out of our own pockets, and to the tune of several $1,000s. And so we're hoping to recover some of that.
Okay. Tom Corider, proponents measure 22117, 22116, as this continues to be defined, specifically debt, and as the story goes on further and continues on, it's not quite over yet. I guess, as they say, it's over when the fat lady sings, and she hasn't sung yet.
No, that's right. We're hopeful that it will be totally resolved about mid-April, when the city says they agree that both measures passed.
Okay, Tom, look forward to having you in on the show in the future, and enjoy the sunshine today.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm Dave Adams, Valley Talk. Don't forget to sign up for Quiznos Taste on Us. Dave@kgal.com is the email address you can submit to, and put Quiznos Taste on Us on the subject line. Or you can call the station at 451-KGAL or 926-KGAL and be signed up for it. Valley Talk will continue in just a moment.
Okay.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by LifeLock, not only guarding your identity, your good name and credit, but also monitoring bank accounts for takeover fraud. LifeLock is the only identity theft protection company that does that. Find out more at lifelock.com. I'm Sam Litzinger, sitting in for Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network. We journalists are, by and large, a worried bunch these days. Many of the people we work for want to fire us, not because we're bad at our jobs, but because no one has really figured out a long-term business model that makes good, straightforward reporting pay for itself. The new report's making us even more paranoid. More after this from Charlie.
The IRS issued an identity theft alert to the millions of Americans who pay taxes, including many of my listeners. Here's former Mayor Rudy Giuliani with a LifeLock identity theft alert.
As a mayor and former federal prosecutor, fighting crime has always been my mission. Now I'm taking on identity theft. The problem has become such a global concern, you can no longer think it will never happen to you. I protect myself with LifeLock Ultimate, and you should too.
Consumers beware. Identity thieves know that virtually everything they need to steal your identity and even your life savings is on your tax forms. Do what Mayor Giuliani did and do what I did. Arm yourself with LifeLock Ultimate. Visit lifelock.com for details and use my last name, Osgood, to get a special 10% discount. Or call LifeLock and mention Osgood. 1-800-838-8040. That's 1-800-838-8040. This is important, so one more time. 1-800-838-8040.
Network does not cover all transactions and scope may vary.
Believe it or not, there are only a handful of really rich people in journalism, names available upon request. The rest of us make enough to get by on, but our days may be numbered. Many news organizations are hurting because of everything from reduced advertising to the rise of the internet and social media. We don't know how to make money off the new technology. Amy Mitchell is acting director of the Pew Research Center's Project for Excellence in Journalism. Her new study isn't encouraging.
All in all, the challenges are mounting sort of one on top of the other.
She says many of you have simply given up on news organizations you used to count on.
We asked the American public if they had left an organization, a news organization, because it was no longer giving them what they were accustomed to. And nearly a third of Americans had left a news outlet for that reason.
And part of the reason is there aren't as many journalists doing the work required to report a good story.
To be able to do that reporting and get that information to citizens is a critical part of how our country works.
The First Amendment guarantees the right to a free press, but it doesn't guarantee it'll be paid for. That's something we still have to figure out. The Osgood Files, Sam Litzinger on the CBS Radio Network.
When you look out across the Willamette Valley, you'll see plenty of banking choices. Willamette Community Bank is here to give you an option that's pretty unique, like no other, in fact. Hi, this is Sue Kalina, Relationship Manager. Willamette Community Bank provides an alternative to large national and regional banks by offering customized financial services and local decision-making to benefit local people, local families, and local businesses. How many banks can say that?
Willamette Community Bank, service like no other. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Jay Farner here from Quicken Loans. We get a lot of tweets from folks that sound just like this. Jay, I bought my home in 2007. Since then, it's gone down in value. Now I owe more on my mortgage than my home is worth. Can I refinance? The answer may very well be yes. Recently, the government announced changes that may allow folks to refinance even if their home has lost value. For example, if you owe $300,000 on your mortgage, but your home's only worth $150,000, Quicken Loans may still be able to help you. Or if your current mortgage rate is higher than 3.99%, you've got to give us a call today at 800-QUICKEN. And for 3 years in a row now, J.D. Power & Associates has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. So, if your current mortgage is higher than 3.99%, or if you owe more than your home is worth, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
For J.D. Power & Associates award information, visit jdpower.com. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Less hype, just quality news, sports, and smart talk. From your friends at 1580 KGAL.
Valley Talk. Here we go again, second part of the show, and we have in our studios right now Lynn Powers, Watercolor Society of Oregon. We'll be talking about that event, and also we actually have three topics we're going to be talking about here in the next part of the show. Lynn's going to be talking about a Watercolor Society of Oregon. She's also active in the issue about the coal trains coming through Albany. And Lynn, thank you for being with us on Valley Talk.
My pleasure.
More in just a moment, but first of all, and then Anthony Baugher.
That's correct.
And he is the Athletic Director and Development Director of Santiam Christian Schools. We'll be talking about Santiam Christians. But since, Anthony, we're gentlemen here, we'll let the lady goes first, and for about 7 or 8 minutes, we'll talk about what's going on with Lynn. Lynn, first of all, let's talk about the Watercolor Society of Oregon.
Yes, we will be hosting the statewide show the first full weekend in April. We expect to have around 300 guests from all over the state. And in the past several weeks, people have been submitting paintings. So out of close to 300 paintings, we had a juror from a nationally recognized artist and instructor from the East select 80 paintings that will be in the show. And we will be awarding cash prizes. It's a big deal. It happens twice a year. We're one of the biggest statewide organizations in the country with over 900 members.
So this is a juried art show, right?
Yes, and it's quite an honor to have them come to Albany.
What does that mean?
It means that just not anybody can get in. You have to submit an image of your work, and then it's juried against the other images that are submitted into the show.
How many years have you been doing this?
The Watercolor Society of Oregon started in, I think it was 1966, with about 80 people. So it's one of the oldest organizations in the country as well. Personally, I've been painting all my life, but...
And the show is free?
Yes, it will be in the Albany City Hall. It will be hung, I believe, the 5th of April, and will go through the month of April. And then there are a number of things that the public is invited to. It's a free meet and greet April 5th at the City Hall to meet the juror, Marianne Beckwith. And then the free show and the artist reception on the 6th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And then there is a charged lecture and demonstration by Ms. Beckwith at the Holiday Inn Express that's on April 7th, Sunday, in the morning. And it's, you asked me about the juried part of it.
Mm-hmm.
She will be presenting several awards, best of show, and then 2nd through 5th, and then a bunch of, I guess, would be awards of distinction. And the wonderful local merchants have contributed to this, and we really thank them for doing that.
So this is a big deal, a big show as comparative to other shows in the state.
Oh, it's the biggest in the state.
Biggest in the state.
For watercolor. 80
paintings, and where are the artists hail from? Or is it
all over the state. Eastern Oregon.
Any from outside of Oregon?
Not permitted. It's only Oregon artists.
It's only an Oregon juried art show.
Right.
Watercolors?
Just watercolors.
What kinds of paintings are you going to be showing, watercolor paintings?
Everything.
There's a picture here of a cowboy.
Right. Everything from landscapes to portraits to abstracts. They're judged on design, success, the ability to communicate.
Mm-hmm. How can people find out more information about it? Do you have a website, Facebook?
Thank you for asking, because I would have totally forgotten that. artfulalbany@gmail.com. ARTFULLALBANY, Albany.
And that's the email address.
Yes, and you can ask send an email for more information, and if you want to look into becoming a member of the Watercolor Society, you would go online to the Watercolor Society of Oregon, and they have quite a website. Or rather, we have quite a website.
Artfulalbany. Thank you.
At gmail.com.
ARTFULLALBANY.
Yes, for information regarding this local event.
All right. Next subject we want to talk about, coal trains through Albany. Fact sheet. Now, this is totally separate, so we're changing gears here, so to speak.
And in fact, I'm not the expert in this, but I encourage people to find out more. They will be sending 2 fully loaded coal trains and then 2 empty coal trains through Albany. I believe they deposit on the order of 600 pounds of coal dust every day in our community, and it's toxic, not to mention holding up traffic and the destruction it does to our water resources, depositing it on playgrounds, schools, church parking lots, and it's a big deal. We're hoping to get a resolution through the city to send to Kitzhopper saying that we don't want this. And it's so I would like people to check out www.powerpastcoal.org or contact Jim at ccpvideos.com to ask questions and get the facts.
And this is not in any way affiliated with Watercolor Society?
No, it isn't. It's a local issue that it's a international and local issue. It's about us sending American coal to China, and it's coming right through our backyard.
Okay, Lynn, we're getting 3 topics here that we want to talk about in this last half of the show. Anything you want to add,
No.
either the watercolor show or the coal trains?
No, and thank you, and I hope that people do inquire more deeply into the coal issue.
Why did you get so involved in the coal issue? Why do you have such strong feelings about it? Do you have personal history?
No, I don't. I just love our town, and we're being treated like a third world country. It's not contributing to our economic well-being, and we really don't. If we don't speak up, it's going to happen without us, and the only people that are really going to benefit are those that make money from giving our natural resource to people overseas.
Okay. Lynn Powers, Watercolor Society of Oregon, and then personally speaking about the coal train issue. Thank you for being with us on Valley Talk
Thank
today.
you very much, Dave.
We're going to take a break right now, and Anthony Baugher, Athletic Director and Development Director of Santiam Christian Schools, next on the show. We'll be right back.
Going out to lunch at a nice restaurant can be expensive, and the big portions put you more in the mood for a nap than a productive afternoon. Mama's Fine Italian to the rescue. The small appetite senior menu is just right. Anyone and everyone is invited to order from the Light Appetites menu for lunch from 11 to 4 p.m. with tasty entrees beginning at only $3.95. Why go hungry or go anywhere else for lunch? Eat healthy, eat light at Mama's. Closed Sunday and Monday, so make the most of Tuesday through Friday and join your friends at Mama's for lunch. Dinner only on Saturday. Mama's features charbroiled steaks every day. Make reservations for dinner or pick up a bottle of fine wine. Seating is limited, so please call for reservations. 541-451-5050. That's 451-5050. Mama's Fine Italian and Wine Shop on West Oak between Main and 2nd in Lebanon, across from the Big Blue Napa Auto Parts building.
This time of year can be very taxing, or it can be very, relaxing if you call American Bookkeeping and Tax Services in Albany. They've been providing quality services for bookkeeping, tax preparation, personal taxes, and more for decades. American Bookkeeping and Tax Services believes in the highest ethical standards. So relax and call American Bookkeeping and Tax Services, 541-926-7982, 926-7982. Online at ameritaxservice.com on 9th Avenue Southeast in Albany.
Are you thinking about getting new windows but aren't excited about spending 3 to 4 hours with a pushy salesperson from out of town? Hi, this is Brian at Smith Glass. We offer double and triple pane windows with a lifetime warranty for much less than those Portland or Seattle guys. Plus, we're your neighbors. Our salespeople are friendly and helpful. Visit us today on Southwest 3rd in Corvallis or at the foot of the Line Street Bridge in Albany or on the web at smith-glass.com.
On the cutting edge since 1945, Smith Glass Service.
You probably know the former Hair Express in Lebanon has relocated as Studio 709 in Brownsville. Remember the address? 709 Amelia Street. The phone number? 466-3250. Once you stop in, you'll always remember how much you like their haircuts. At Studio 709 at 709 Amelia Street in Brownsville. Phone 466-3250. Studio 709, where they always take unforgettable care in hairstyling.
Doug Burton Landscaping is growing fast with more and more satisfied customers saying,
Doug Burton takes care of my lawn.
Wouldn't you rather have a well-maintained landscape? Doug Burton is ready to go to work for you. Not just lawn mowing, year-round complete landscape maintenance for your home or business. Call Doug Burton at 791-8758, 791-8758. Click on his link at kgal.com or kshow.net. Call 791-8758 for Doug Burton Landscaping.
The Car Show, Saturday afternoons on News Talk 1580, KGAL.
Valley Talk, welcome back to the show, 11:48. We got about 12 minutes yet. Hey, 12 minutes yet to sign up for Quiznos Taste on Us. Dave at kgal.com is the email address, or call me at 451-KGAL or 926-KGAL. And tell you what, at the end of the show, we'll draw a name out of the hat, and that lucky person will get a $10 gift certificate from Quiznos in Albany, next to Novak's Restaurants, right across the street, right across the parking lot from the former G.I. Joe Sporting Goods location. Thanks to Dale and the crew for being a part of the Valley Talk family here on KGAL. Anthony Baugher, Athletic Director, Development Director of Santiam Christian Schools, on the docket right now, is in the show, in the studios right now. Anthony, you go by Anthony or Tony?
Anthony.
Where's your microphone there? Try it again.
Anthony.
There you go.
All right.
Helps if I push the right button. Santiam Christian Schools. Now, you have kindergarten through high school.
We actually have a preschool through high school.
Alternative to public schools, what principally do people look for at Santiam Christian Schools, and why do they go there instead of a public school?
Well, I think it's, we want to point out, and I think it's important to know that, parents need to make this call on what's the right fit for them. We feel on our end, Christian education is extremely important, especially with our current culture. And families that choose to come to Santiam Christian are really vested in that and believe in Christian education and believe that strongly that their administrators and their teachers will be, partnering with them in the education of their children.
Do you pray at school, Santiam Christian?
Yes, we do.
One of the things, I think, it was Santiam Christian. I was there the other day talking about another issue, and one of the things that I liked seeing was the scripture verses on the walls.
Sure.
And so the faith component is a very big aspect of what you do at Santiam Christian, isn't it?
Correct. I mean, it's centrally located in our hearts and our mission out there as a school. Just as a Christian family would have that, faith would be the cornerstone. And we want to make sure that that's carried out in everything we do. Our goal is to glorify God in our actions, our words. We implement that in our athletic programs, in our classrooms, in our curriculum. We think it's very important, and it does set us apart from public schools, but we wouldn't be a Christian school without that component.
Now, you mentioned earlier the discussion, argument in some cases, that is going on between taking prayer out of public schools. Are you noticing an increased interest in Christian schools because of that, taking God out of the classroom?
I personally don't see that as much when I discuss our school with parents, and when I run into people that might be inquiring about our school. I think their main questions are, what is the identity of your school? What's the mission of your school? What does your school stand for? And then that separation kind of just happens when, the public school and some view that God is taken out of that and don't want that. They want to have Christ discussed. They want to have the gospel introduced to their children and reinforced what they're being taught at home. So it kind of ties in with our conversations, and that evidently, will come up.
Do you believe that is leading to the degradation in society where we kind of divorce ourselves from faith, so to speak, and take God out of the equation? Is that part of what's going on in society as a whole and part of our problem, if you will?
Well, I think our culture, we live in a very postmodern culture where feelings kind of drive our decisions. We've removed God in the center of our lives, and that creates an atmosphere where people are putting themselves first, and what feels good at the moment is what they want to do. And biblical teachings kind of contradict that. And I had a parent that was inquiring at our open house recently about our school, and they made the comment, everything in the gospel, everything, the directive that God has given us, the directives, he's never telling us to do something that's going to be a negative, especially towards others. And that's kind of what I feel might be that fracture that we have in our culture right now. And it's very important for us to be not anti-culture in that sense, but just sticking to our own identity and our own mission of our school, and that is to give a quality education, to have a school that is follows the Bible and just really reinforces that. And we have excellent teachers, faculty, staff that model that type of behavior, so that basically you have a revival every year with new students coming in and students leaving, and kids going through that just process of, hey, last year I was in 8th grade, now I'm a freshman, and different types of opportunities for them to become leaders. And I think that's one of the things our culture currently misses out on is just a development of leaders in our society that we can send out that would do the right thing, even though when it's the culture's saying no.
Let's talk about long-range plans. Well, first of all, let's talk about the Heritage Breakfast. It's a fundraiser for Santiam Christian School.
Correct.
You're a nonprofit 501c3?
Correct.
So you have a Heritage Breakfast fundraiser. Let's tell folks where that is, when, all the details.
It's on April 16th at 8:30 at Santiam Christian. You can contact me or our school development office for more details if you want to attend. It is a fundraiser that is driven by pledges. It's an opportunity to showcase our school. We have different speakers that share about the school, share about how the school has impacted their lives. We have students that come up and and perform. We have our second graders this year will be singing, and then we have a video that kind of illustrates what our school is and what it's about, and just presents an opportunity to really showcase our school. And it is an ask event, and we're looking to raise money for our scholarships and our general fund.
Long-range plans, expansion?
Well, that is the goal, and that's, our long-range plans have come from our board and our new superintendent, Lance Villers, and we're currently right now building a 114,000 square foot turf baseball field, which in Oregon you need. I come from Central Washington, and we played on grass, but when it rains all the time, it's a necessity. That should be done about April 1st, so our students in our baseball program will be able to benefit from that this year. And the next step will be to turf a softball field and then put in a track. We currently are celebrating our 34th year, and we've never had a track on our campus, which is, to me, kind of would solidify our athletic program to be able to offer that, have that facility to offer that sport, and then expand it down even to our lower levels in elementary. So that's a big thing for us. And then we're looking at probably in the next couple of years, if the monies come in, that we would be able to build an elementary building, school building, to replace our existing one that's that we got from our purchase there.
Do you need more space, or is the current building old?
We definitely need more space, and we're starting that part of our building with our current elementary building. We're starting to have those types of issues that come up with old buildings, the roof and leaks and heating and space and different things like that. Just so it's would really benefit our school to be able to build an elementary building, for part of our long range planning that would kind of solidify it.
A lot of public schools, because of budget cutting, are looking at, they're cutting in some schools, they're cutting entire sports.
Mm-hmm.
Extracurricular activities, band, FFA, Future Farmers of America, sports, band, drama, that kind of thing. Now, you're an athletic director at Santiam Christian.
Correct.
How important is sports in the overall formation of character, training, as we're bringing young men and women up into society? Just how important is that, the sports element?
Well, I think it's a big part, and I'm not just saying that as the athletic director. I have 3 children, my wife and I, and I think it's an extra classroom, and it's a classroom where emotion plays into it. When you're facing adversity, tough contest that you might lose, there's just different opportunities to learn life lessons. And it's a big part. And it's a big part as you progress through your school years and go from elementary to junior high to high school. Obviously, sports in high school is a big component, a big part of that experience for our students. So we look at it as, you mentioned that, public schools are going through some tough times and cutting some sports. And my experience, and I've been at Santiam Christian for 3 years, my experience is that, we have a great group of parents that step up when we have holes in our budget, or we face maybe some shortfalls, and they will meet us there. A good example, this year we had 44 boys come out for basketball, and I'm also the basketball coach, and typically you would cut. Well, we only had 4 seniors, so you don't want to cut anybody below a senior, so we went ahead and had 2 JV2 teams, and 2 dads stepped up to coach those teams for us.
We got just a few seconds left to go on the show. You got 15 seconds left. Why do you like Santiam Christian Schools?
Why do I like Santiam Christian Schools? I like that we have an opportunity with our school to partner with parents. I know that my kids are attending a school that is Christ-centered, it's safe, and that we have excellent faculty and staff that will not only educate my kids, but love them.
Okay, Anthony Baugher. Tomorrow on Valley Talk, it's Tax Tips with H&R Block. I'm Dave Adams. Anthony, thank you for being with us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Talking about Santiam Christian Schools. Have a great day.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.